value, turn it loud. Miami's pride, make us proud. CanesWear crew, you hear the crowd. Hurricanes ain't backing down. Every play, every score. Raising bets and raising roar. Rocking orange, green galore. All for one and one for four. We got FTSN, taking names, win it again. Podcast fam, till the end. Tune in, now let's begin.
Hello and welcome to the CanesWear Show podcast, starring Brad Tejeda. Today we have is our special regular contributor, and today we have another special guest, Sheldon Dunn, joining the program today, and we're very pumped. Hold on, having some technical difficulties, and we're pumped to have everybody joining the show. A lot to cover, guys. There you go, FS Who. A lot to cover, a lot of excitement right now. The 2024 season is upon us. So much to talk about. We had a phenomenal weekend in Gainesville. For anyone that came by and came to the Brad Tejeda's party, which was phenomenal, a pre-party, which was great. Several players there, said other people there, was awesome. And then they came to the CanesWear party after that. The parties between the two of them were running till about from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. and they were wild all night long. So it was a great pre-party for the big party in Gainesville, and we know what happened there. Brad, tell us what happened at the big party.
Yeah, as always, viewers and tuners tuned in. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for our CanesWear podcast, and appreciate you always having me stop by, man. I'll be a regular guest. We got our guy Sheldon as well, talking some Canes football. But yeah, man, it all started Thursday, Friday night when me and Bo partaked in the annual spray painting on the wall. We decided to put "Drain the Swamp," and it kind of made some headway. And leading up to physically draining the swamp in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on Saturday, it was awesome. I mean, anyone that was able to not only partake in the football game at 3:30 in Ben Hill, but also partake in our events. Like you mentioned, Brett, it was a great turnout, not only for the fans for our event, but it was an amazing turnout for this football team as the first week in college football for us. A lot of expectations for this program, and also with Cam Ward. We'll get into specific players as well, man. But it was a great turnout for not only us, but for our football team.
Absolutely. Before we go in any particular, Sheldon, you want to say hey to the fans?
Hi there out there, everybody in Canesland. I got to tell you, I'm a glass half full guy, not a glass half empty. And I was hoping for the best, and boy, we got it. We certainly did.
Speaking of the best, we got one of the best Cane fans out in the country, and also a great, friend of me and Brett's as well. We got Cliff backstage. That'll be joining us here in a second from Pennsylvania. He's one of the greatest guys I know. So we'll be having our guy Cliff as well to talk some Canes football. But Brett, man, why don't you start us off with a question for Sheldon, and then hopefully Cliff when he gets on, as far as this recap of the game.
Sounds good. And just so everybody knows that sees it now or on review and tape delay, if you want to join our program, reach out to Brad or myself in advance. We can get you in here. You can talk. This is about the fans. There's going to just be fun, talking sports, having a good time, not just one or two people taking over the whole show. It's going to be about just the average guy, the average Joe, the average fan. And right now, there's probably no better time to be a fan. How's it going, Cliff?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Nice glasses there.
What's up, my brother?
I have readers now, man. I'm getting old.
That's okay. It's what happens when you get old. Wait till you get to be Brad's age.
I wish I could switch ages with Brad.
There you go. So Sheldon, tell us your thoughts going into the game first, and then what you thought about while you're watching the game and afterwards. Give us a few minutes with Sheldon here to tell us what you thought. You've been around the block a few times watching Canes football. You've seen the championships. You've seen the down years. You've seen the up years. You've seen the down years. And now you see 2024. Break it down for us.
Well, we were 2.5-point favorite going into the game. It's on the road. We knew there'd be 90,000 people there. We know it's an SEC stadium, and we don't know how good or not good Florida is. We know we've had their problems, but they too, like us, have portal players. So we don't know how good or not good the portal players are going to perform in the first game. We know that Cam Ward is one of the better quarterbacks in the country. We also knew that we have portal players as well that are very good, and I was just hoping for the best, and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, from the opening kickoff, you could just tell. Again, not being, objective to the Canes, but just watching the game, you could just tell Miami was in control. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. From start to finish, we dominated that game. I mean, they had the 71-yard run, and then we had Cam, through the pick. That's 10 points we basically just gave them right there. Other than that, we dominated on both sides of the line. I mean, our quarterback is 10 times better than theirs. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that, but that stadium was silent on TV up here. When I was like, man, there's a lot of times I don't hear anybody there except for Canes fans cheering. So, I mean, that's huge to go in that state with only 4,000 tickets they gave us to instead of like 7.
I know I was at the top of the stadium. I was at the top. I mean, when I looked over to the other side, I was higher than that. And I'm not a person that loves heights. I'm like, we're higher than the other side of the stadium. And there was about, us Canes fans were roasting. I guess it could have been worse. We could have been on the other side, Brad, on the side that was facing the sun. Those poor people had it tougher, I thought. Where were you sitting in the game, Brad?
Well, I had a great experience. I was actually front row, right behind the recruits, right by the tunnel. So I had great seats. I was able to heckle with our the Florida recruits every time Miami scored a touchdown. I'd say, hey man, you get to watch Miami destroy Florida in their own stadium. They don't even give you water and Aquafina to support the thirst that you got. You got them out here baking with the parents, man. It was terrible. But as far as the turnout of the game, right? I think the one thing that everyone, not just Cane fans, realized, but just all of media, before this game, there was a lot of hype. But was the hype going to live up to it? I think every year with this Miami Hurricanes football team, there's always this hype in the offseason. But we find out very quickly it just doesn't really happen. And this was our first true test, game one, in a hostile environment, like Sheldon said, against a in-state rival, a team that was also wanting to prove a lot, especially first game. And there's a lot of, weight on Billy Napier's shoulders. But I think what we all finally got to realize was Cam Ward is that guy. You talk about, the cool, calm, and collectiveness that, Cliff talked about. He has this Michael Jordan, S to him, where it just, from the beginning of the first snap of the football game, the guy just walked around like he didn't have any worry in the world. Like this was just a playground. And whether it was running the football, only having 3 carries, averaging 10 yards per carry, which I think on that one interception, he probably could have booked it for 7 or 8 yards and minus that interception. But besides that turnover, these cross, the arm passes, the Patrick Mahomes type of plays, this was something he was doing it on an every other drive basis. And people started to realize real quick that some of these things that may have looked like a risk for a quarterback, these are things that just Cam Ward does on a daily basis. And I think it's a privilege as a Miami Hurricane fan to finally be able to watch a great guy at quarterback. This is something we haven't had in 20 plus years.
Brad, you know what? During the telecast, Joe Tessitore, or was it Jesse Palmer, they used the word nonchalant in describing.
Exactly. Good point. I did not hear it.
Times.
That's what it seemed like, Sheldon.
Yes. And you just watch him. He's just so in tune with everything. And he's definitely a cut above. There's no question about it. I've watched a lot of quarterbacks in a lot of years as the game has evolved. And I would say he's right up there. He is right up there.
He has that it factor that you don't know what it is, but he has it. And
good point, Cliff.
He has a man to that.
To me, he glided. He glided. He was like walking on air, like you say, Michael Jordan, a Dwayne Wade, someone that is gliding. They just Clyde the glide. He just like was walking on air. Even the couple of times he ran early, he drops back. He could run all the time if he wanted to. And is it just me, or he hits that hole so fast and he's gone? I mean, he turns on the jets and then he slows down and runs out of bounds. Way in advance. It's just amazing how fast he is when he wants to be. And he's not looking to run first. He's looking to pass. He likes to sit in the backfield, rolling around all over the place. has a cup of coffee.
Yep. That's
You know
what
what? Well, 1 second, Cliff.
Yeah.
One of the guys posted online that said Mario's going to stop that. The way he ran out of bounds and slowed down, he actually looked behind him to see if there was any trailers, but he went out of bounds. Hey, I'm fine with that. To me, that's
I'm fine
Miami
with that,
swag.
too.
That's Miami swag. He didn't need to lower his shoulder and get extra yards. It was inside the 20. He got the first down. We had the lead. Another place coming.
Yep.
I was fine with it.
Yeah, there's no reason to try to take somebody on head to head for what? To show you're bigger than him? Who cares? Just run out of bounds.
Correct. At that time, I mean, he's obviously. I mean, I think football today is different than it was a few years back. Also,
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, I will
maybe
say
if you're
this,
coming,
right? Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Go on. So, what were you saying, Brad?
No, I was going to say this. You know, I know Cam Ward was obviously the big headline, right? That was the main attraction for the event. But I think all in all, you know, you go back to tradition and history. One of the biggest things with the University of Miami is tight end U, right? And I think last year,
I was excited about that.
We didn't use the tight ends, whether it was our quarterback, whether it was the play calling, or whether it was just the tight ends that we had available. Either weren't there, they were either injured, or just very, you know, early in the playbook where you didn't really have a lot of dependability, right? And I think when you looked at this first game, the tight ends as a whole did such a phenomenal job, not only in the passing game, but also in the running game. You know, you talk about a young guy like Riley Williams and Elijah Lofton, and the little bit of plays that they had an opportunity, they made good highlights. And then you talk about Cam McCormick. You know, we talked about Cam Ward, but what about Cam McCormick, a guy that has been in college football for 8-9 years? And I don't think anyone in the world would have thought that the first touchdown for the University of Miami Hurricanes would have been Cam McCormick. And, you know, that just goes to show you the tenacity, the grit, and the type of hardworking guys that Mario has brought into this program. Because you got to remember, this is a guy that followed Mario from Oregon to Miami and has battled adversity every single year. And he could have given up at any single time. And when you see what he has done, Elijah Lofton, and also, I mean, Elijah Arroyo. I mean, let's not forget about Elijah Arroyo. Has been in all of his career for Miami, and what he was able to showcase on Saturday. As long as he is healthy, we are going to be tight end U once again. What is your thoughts on the tight ends being used on Saturday?
Go ahead.
I was go on, Cliff.
Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
I was very excited as soon as McCormick caught that first touchdown, which was exciting. You had to feel good for the kid. I know everybody makes a joke. Oh, he's been in he's got grandkids in the league or something like that. But the guy has stuck it out. I mean, he's a trooper. He's a Mario guy, and he loves Miami. And I think that, to score the first touchdown, what an honor for that guy. Cam Ward's first touchdown in Miami is to Cam McCormick. So that was number one. That was awesome. And I thought, again, tight ends, as soon as they started going to Arroyo, I mean, it was awesome. So I thought tight end U is definitely, what do we got? You said we have 4 or 5 tight ends right now that are active.
Active wise, as far as getting some reps, it's 4. You got Elijah Lofton, Elijah Arroyo, Cam McCormick, and Riley Williams. They all got reps week 1. And you still got Jackson Carver as well at the back.
All right, so we got hey guys, 305 Sports now. Well, I guess we lost the other guys. I didn't hit a button. I mean, Cliff was about to talk, and there's Sheldon back on.
There's Sheldon.
All right,
Sheldon, what's your thoughts on the tight end, Sheldon?
Well, the 3 of them. First of all, 10 receivers caught passes Saturday. Okay?
Did they really? I didn't realize that.
Yes, the box score shows 10 different receivers caught passes. McCormick, obviously, Arroyo, strong. Lofton, the freshman, he did well too. We're okay in the tight end position. I got to tell you guys. See, last year what happened, we all know now that Tyler Van Dyke was a one-read quarterback. And if it wasn't Restrepo, it might have been someone else, and that was it. He could not extend plays. He could not roll out and make a pass across his body or anything. He was a one-read guy. We all blame Dawson. What kind of playbook is this? We're not throwing to the tight end? What are we doing? Now, Dawson has a quarterback that has a skill set that can do so much more. And that's so important to get us to where we want to get to.
Yep. Opens up the whole offense. I had to drop out for a second, but I'm back in.
Welcome back, Cliff. We didn't notice you were gone.
Hey,
You're good. You're good.
7 catches by the tight ends this game. I mean, What do we have last year? 7 or 8 the whole year? 10?
I think it was 9 or 10 catches the whole year last year. So we're almost already eclipsed it with one game.
We already Yeah, and the couple plays that I saw from the tight ends, like even Lofton at the end of the game, there was like 2 or 3 minutes left, and he caught a pass, and you saw him still fighting for yards at the end of the play. 2 minutes left, and it's 41-17 at that point. He was still trying to like show out. Past 5-6 years, you would have never saw that. You would have seen a guy just catch the pass and get hit and go down. This guy was fighting for extra yards with like 3 or 4 guys on him.
Speaking of, not being able to see things, in the past 5 or 6 years, I think one of the things that has really hurt Miami, especially in this one position group that I'm about to talk about, is when your main guy goes down, who is going to step up for your football team? And I think you saw last year, right? Nigel Kelly, Akeem Mesidor went down, and really all it was the Ruben Bain show, right? Exactly. You came into this first game where Florida fans, Florida media, it was, oh, we're not worried about all these other 4, 5, 6, 7 transfer portal guys. All they have is Ruben Bain. They don't have anybody else. Well, guess what? Within the first series, Ruben Bain gets injured, which thankfully he's okay. He's just going to rest a little bit for precautionary reasons. Gets injured, leaves the game. So we pretty much play this whole football game without your best defensive player at the defensive line. And guess what? Tyler Barron shows up. Ahmad Moten shows up. We have guys that when one guy goes down, we got other guys that are ready to fire at you. And that's what I like to see with this quality depth, everything that we have banked on in this offseason with the transfer portal. It's coming through fruition quickly and right away. And that's what you like to see. And that's what you need to build a championship caliber football team, because you're going to need some of these older veteran guys to help piggyback and uplift these younger guys that are going to get quality reps in a FAMU, in some of these other smaller games. I expect a Cole McConaughey and a Marquise Lightfoot and others to get some good reps, Justin Scott, in this next game. But big ups to Tyler Barron and Ahmad Moten and some of these other guys that we really needed to step up, and we got that. What's y'all's thoughts on the defensive line?
2 great points there. First of all, see, where I was sitting, I was closer to the Goodyear blimp than I was to the field, Brad. So you were then I was closer to to you. So I was a distance. So I didn't even know. Someone said literally at halftime, Ruben Bain was out in the first series, and we couldn't tell it off from where we were. So I didn't even know, because they weren't missing a beat. I mean, it was unbelievable. So nobody realized it. And if that would have happened last year, can you imagine the gaping holes the other teams would have had? Now, for years, we've been talking about, we're good on the first line, no matter of any players, but no depth. You need depth to win. You need depth to win. Obviously, the points you made right there, we have the depth now. We may not be there exactly where Mario wants to be yet, but we're as close as any Canes team has been in a long, long time.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I know Barber's dad, Austin Barber, for the Gators' dad, so I talk to him every once in a while still, and the first thing he said, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a big game 1. This was 2 or 3 months ago, and he's like, yeah, Austin has to deal with Bain. That kid's a great player. So right there, I knew like they didn't realize who else we had, but I guess they all know now. I haven't even yet, I don't want to feel like I'm rubbing it in.
Before we continue on that, no, I was going to say before we continue on the defensive side of the ball, we mentioned Cam Ward. He's a hot commodity, and Brett's got the hot commodity guy with the jersey in the background. Brett, where can they find the Cam Ward jersey along with any other great Miami Hurricane and South Florida Apparel?
Excellent question, Brad. Well, we are blessed to have Cam Ward. We do have the Cam Ward jerseys at CanesWear right now. As far as I know, we're the only company. Cam Ward, you can see right now, we do carry them in all 4 colors, white, black, green, and orange, or orange and green, I should say. We also have a black jersey that's stitched coming out tomorrow with it's going to look awfully cool. We also have the black basketball jersey that says Ward #1. So if you're not into a heavy jersey, you want a tank top like a basketball jersey, you can represent. And every purchase, like all of our NIL sales, percentage of the profit of the sale goes right to the athlete, the student athlete. So CanesWear does support the athletes. Today we got in the slides, those great Alpha Bound slides. Have you guys seen them? They're awesome. They're orange. They're phenomenal. We just got them in. We've got all sizes, 4 to 14. So no matter, as long as you're not over a 14 or under a 4, we've got you covered. A bunch of other new stuff is coming in every single day. We're pumped. We're excited. Jeff and the team at CanesWear is ready to help, and we're pumped. I mean, right? Winning is everything in this business, guys. I mean, I don't care how great of a sales staff you have, how great customer service. And we're blessed to have great customer service at CanesWear. But let's face it, we have our regulars. We do have some bandwagons. But when a team wins, everybody wants merchandise. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The husband or the wife is treating you not so great. It's a tough day. You got to pay rent. You got the kids doing something. The boss is yelling at you at work. If your team's winning, you've got a big smile on your face. That's the great thing about sports, isn't it, guys?
Everybody loves a winner, Brett.
Everybody loves a winner. I know they say South Florida only, but everybody loves a winner. Look, 10 minutes left in that Gator game, and half the place was gone. It doesn't matter where you're at. If your team's winning, the fans support. If they're not winning, the fans don't. It's just the way it is. So, so right now we're winning 1-0, baby.
It's funny.
1-0. 1-0. And you talked about having everyone covered with the Miami Hurricanes apparel and other things, right? But let's get back to the defensive side of the ball and the coverage that this defense was able to have on the offensive weapons that we were hearing for the Florida Gators wide receiver, crew. Leading up to this game, we heard guys like Elijah Badger and Trey Wilson. And I think we all knew going into this football game, you still had a quarterback that didn't know how to test you, down the football field. You still had a wide receiver in Trey Wilson who isn't necessarily that deep threat guy. Is he going to be more of a bubble screen and reverse guy, or is he going to be more than that? And we saw that what they were last year is exactly what we thought they were, right? The quote that coach, did in the presser. We are who they thought they were, right? And that's exactly what the Florida offense was. And you talk about the coverage of the Miami Hurricanes. This was a group going into this football game where I think even Miami fans, circled if there was a weak spot on this football team, it might have been the secondary. And we had a young man as a true freshman from St. Thomas Aquinas and OJ Romanes Frederic, who started the game as a true freshman. And man, what a great job that young man did on these wide receivers that were supposed to be dominant for Florida. And they only had 122 passing yards in the air. Well, what's y'all's thoughts on OJ and some of these other guys in the secondary?
They just played great. They played great. They made a name for themselves, and they're only going to get better as they get more playing time.
Exactly. I mean, that was the concern, was the secondary, right? Everybody, we thought the offensive line would be beastly. We thought the running game would be great, the receivers, and of course Cam. We thought the front seven would be awesome. Everybody was worried about the secondary. So, and they showed up. So, played well outside of a couple of big. I mean, they had the biggest play of the game in the run, correct? What was the biggest play the Canes made? I mean, was it over 40 yards? Was it over 30 yards? What was our biggest play?
Pass to X, probably, where he spun, did.
Yeah, that play was X did it himself. Correct. That was the biggest play. But we didn't really have any big plays, which is great that we dominated like that without, a lot of times you get a couple of 80-yard plays and, you think you're doing so great on offense, you just racked up 180 yards or 160 yards. But we didn't, it was just precision. Yeah. And was awesome. What a game by Xavier. I mean, last year I thought one of the downsides, the detriments with Tyler is I believe in Jordan, he was hitting X all the time. Their offense looked like it was going great. Now, I don't know if Tyler got hurt or what, but for whatever reason, they didn't throw to X as much. If they told Tyler to look for other players, whatever happened. But obviously we had in the bowl game, Tyler wasn't there. They were throwing X. In this game, they're throwing X. So the bottom line is whoever's open, get the ball. And X is always open. I mean, the guy just gets open. And that spin move after the play was phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Nasty.
I mean, people think that, he's a small guy, he's not fast or whatever, but the quick twitch on him, he can just break any tackle. Phenomenal. What's your thought, guys?
Go ahead,
I see him as a Braxton Berrios type of receiver. I think he'll make the NFL.
Absolutely.
I definitely think he's better. I definitely think he'll make the NFL. He's that type of guy. The NFL has shown from the Julian Edelmans to other guys, that are smaller that can definitely make a difference with the right quarterback. And Cam may be the right quarterback.
Brett, you made a great point. I mean, when X had TVD, he was getting balls. When Williams came in versus Clemson, he was getting balls. Brown in the bowl game, he was getting balls. And then now, I mean, with Cam, so 4 different quarterbacks. It's not, oh, they're favoring him because that's his roommate, his best friend. No, the kid is just a damn baller. He's a stud.
Absolutely.
He's quick as hell. He's strong as hell. He has great hands. He runs unbelievable routes. He's all about the team. You know, he's a leader. That's just, I mean, he's a Cane. He's a true Cane player.
When you have a quarterback and a wide receiver duo that literally just understand the game of football, and just can find the pockets of defenses, whether you call an original play or not, you know, we all know in the game of football, you know, within 2 seconds, that play or that route that was originally called, that may no longer happen, and you got to make something happen. And Cam Ward is known for making something happen. And when you have a guy like Xavier Restrepo who's smart enough to find those gaps and holes within a secondary or a linebacker group, man, that is something that is hard to come by in football. And that's what separates, you know, your Tom Brady and Wes Welker duos, your Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams duos. That camaraderie between 2 guys, it doesn't matter the size, the height, the speed. If you have the football IQ and you know where your quarterback or you know where your wide receiver is going to be at all times, that is something that is very hard to come by. And I think you're going to start to see throughout the football year, we got something special at the University of Miami. And I think we all knew going into this game, special guys like Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo were going to show out, and they definitely did. But what I want to ask you guys, start with you, Sheldon, is who is a guy this past weekend on Saturday that you didn't necessarily expect to really do as well as they did? And you came, you know, after this game and was like, you know what, this guy really did something a lot more than I expected after Saturday. Who was that guy for you, Sheldon?
Could be Cam McCormick. Could be Cam McCormick to tight end. There's a few guys that you would hope that to see more of, and I did. Cam McCormick's one. Mish Powell, the secondary defensive back. There was a few guys. We knew Damian Martinez would be hopefully good, and he is. He's everything as advertised. Yeah, there was a few guys.
Derek Coe said Alston. He picked out Alston as a guy. Brad's got a smile on him.
We got our guy, and anything Derek says, you got to agree with. He
of course,
that's our guy right there.
Coe was there every day. Every day.
Cliff, what do you got on that one? Not to put you on the spot.
No, I would say Harris for me. DB Harris, I think he played phenomenal. I mean, he was the DB of the week in the ACC, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean,
he was exactly. Yeah. And they said he was going to be a weak point.
Yeah, I thought he played great. I think they all played great back there, to be honest. But I mean
how do you pick one guy to be the DB of the week when they all played so well?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it could have been a couple different guys, but I would say that Harris is the guy that I didn't think would be as good as he, you know, as good as he played, but he played phenomenal. And to Sheldon's point, he said Cam McCormick. I don't know if you guys saw the College Game Day, but he featured in it with his mom and stuff like that. So my mom was up from North Carolina, and she's watching the game, and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this kid's still playing, man. He's not gonna like." She was all like upset about this kid. I'm like, "Mom, no, I mean, he's fine. He runs. He's fine. He's not like he's whatever." And then he scored the first touchdown. I ran up from the basement and I said, "Mom, the kid in front of the halftime, Cam, he got first touchdown." She's like, "Are you kidding me? Oh my God!" He was going crazy. So I started laughing. I thought that was like Brad. I believe that he scored. No one won that bet with him scoring the first touchdown of the season.
Well, y'all haven't mentioned my guy, but I'm gonna let Brett, get his shot first.
Well, I'm not gonna mention your guy either, Brad, because I'm gonna say it wasn't one guy, it was the whole team. It was the discipline. The discipline on both sides, the offense and the defense unit was phenomenal. I know we had they called a couple of penalties which could have gone either way, but I just thought the discipline was phenomenal. I mean, it was we had 2 penalties the whole game. The Gators had 2 penalties too, so maybe the refs weren't calling a lot, but still. You didn't see a lot of extracurricular stuff after the game, after the play, which was great. You didn't see any dancing. I mean, you saw some chopping in the end zone when those guys went ahead and scored. They were chopping back. But and you can see Mario after the game in those highlights when he went ahead. I think speaking of Derek Coe, Derek had tweeted, I think, about they went ahead and he made when the coach makes a beeline to you, which is quite the honor. So we're blessed to have him listening here as a special to listen to on our second show. But the coach, you could see Mario was so focused that this team is not the same team he's had the first couple of years. This is not the team for past. He has a mission. He has a goal. And I think he perfected that game plan. He let his coaches do the work. Of course, like I said, I was pretty far, so I couldn't see what he was doing on the sideline. But you can see the coaches were running everything. He was pumped afterwards. The discipline was the key to me in this game. That was my thing.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, hey, whenever you want to get Derek on, we could definitely make it
Derek
happen.
can jump on. We're honored about Derek. We can have Derek Coe, Derek Browse, but Derek Coe want to jump on in, Derek.
Yeah, we could definitely make that happen, man. But I had the privilege of hanging out, being with Derek, most of the game, man. And like you said, he made the beeline to Derek. And I think one of the greatest things about Mario is he understands what of us being in those stands and traveling and the blood, sweat, and tears and the emotion that goes through as a true Hurricane fan, of how much we've wanted these moments like we just experienced on Saturday. And I think part of that, me having the privilege of being so close was Cam Ward and others, right after the game, they kind of quickly went into the tunnel, right? But Mario Cristobal kind of looked around and saw all of us fans kind of crowded around, and he understood the opportunity that was there. We finally accomplished a mission that we've been waiting a very long time for. And he got Cam Ward and these guys to run back out of that tunnel immediately and literally go up to these fans, us, and enjoy the moment with us and to understand that. And not only that, everyone was cheering Mario, Mario. And he quickly realized, hey, this isn't Mario. This is the U. Yeah. It's about the U.
Great point.
So I think that alone, having a head coach that understands, what we're trying to build is great. But going back to my original question with you guys, the guy I was very impressed with the most is, I think, one of the position groups that gets overlooked all the time. But when you talk about a national championship team, going back to 01, 02, right? My guy, Brett Romberg from Canada, the center, right? This was a prime position. Oh, we got our guy Armando, by the way. Shout out Armando.
Armando is joining the house. All right.
You want to talk about a prime position where last season, Matt Lee, you talk about transfer portal guys last year. We didn't hit on many transfer portal guys last year.
Right.
But Matt Lee was one of those gems that you knew right away on and off the football field. Some of the things you hear about Cam Ward off the football field, the mentality, the leadership, getting everybody on board to always go 100%. That is stuff that Matt Lee did on a continuous basis for us last year. And he helped us not only at UM, but you're seeing the dividends he's already paying in the NFL. And I think one of the biggest question marks going to especially game one, an SEC type of defensive line going against big time body guys that you were going against Cheeseburger Eddie that weighed 480 pounds. You didn't know what was going to happen to that center and left guard spot. Man, Zach Carpenter, Cliff mentioned, Jaden Harris getting defensive player of the week for the ACC, but offensive line player of the week was Zach Carpenter. And shout out to him for going into the University of Miami. And, the transition was seamless. This is a guy that you didn't see a Matt Lee, guy where it's like, oh man, where's Matt Lee at? We need him. There was no drop off. So shout out to Zach Carpenter.
Good points. Good points.
What up, Mondo?
What's up, guys? And Brad is on point, just like he was on Joe Rose this morning, man. Brad was on fire this
Brad's
morning.
a beast. Brad's a beast. He's all over the place. I mean, we're blessed to have him here. In the CanesWear podcast. I mean, he was a big get. NAL, we had to reach out deep.
I mean, after he hit the 41-17 prediction, I think that the buck might go up now, Brett. The price might go up a little bit, Brett.
Yes, he did hit that. That was awesome.
The guy that you were impressed with the most on that you didn't think that they were going to be, as good as they were in the game one.
Well, you're asking me? Well, obviously, I mean, I'm not going to lie and pretend that I watched every Tennessee game last year, but when Bain went down, I started getting text messages from my boys, oh, no, we're screwed, we're done. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, Mr. Barron, whoa, yo.
That dude's on.
And what's been the hallmark of every? I think in the beginning of the broadcast, Brett mentioned this fan is for the average Joe. I'm no like a recruiting expert like Brad, etc. But I've been a fan since I was 7 years old, 1984. The hallmark of every great Miami team has always been depth, next man up. And you saw it early in the game in the first quarter. They drove onto our side of the field, 3rd and 5. You saw like 7 guys swarming in defense and knocking down their guy with the ball.
Exactly. We were
Then
swarming.
there was
That's a
another
great word.
end of the game. I think it was Lofton that caught a little screen pass. You saw our whole team pushing him 30 yards down the field, like to run over people. Like you just saw stuff that you haven't seen here in years.
Yeah.
Like it was honest to God. Yeah, UF is not what they were. Obviously, I'm not breaking news, but it was honest to God one of the most satisfying wins I've ever had as a fan. It's what 2-3 days later, it still feels good.
It was relief. I'd say it was relief is the word. It was just relief.
Listen, I don't even think relief is the word. Me being in Gainesville, it's got to go with 2 words, and it's Tom Petty. I got to tell you guys. I know Tom Petty is a Gainesville native, but when you put on Tom Petty, don't back down. And if you're wearing Hurricanes gear in Gainesville, I'm telling you right now, the heads go down, and there's crickets everywhere. I think we just took over not only Ben Hill Griffin, but I think we might have converted Tom Petty. Rest in peace for him. But I think he's now a Miami Hurricane because those Florida fans cannot listen to that song ever again with a Miami Hurricane fan present and feel like it's something good to sing.
I saw your videos and all that, and you guys. I mean, I wish I could have been there, but you guys like held it down. You guys were the whole lower corner section by the end zone there. You guys were killing it, man. Yeah. It sounded like Hard Rock North they were calling it. It was great. It was really
seemed
awesome.
to me the Gator fans, and it was my first time in the Swamp, which is, I mean, I've seen the Gators play Miami multiple times. First time in the Swamp, it did not seem as loud as I thought it would be.
That's what everybody was saying.
And it was over 90,000 fans there. I mean, we're a lot louder in our stadium when there's 40,000 fans. Now I know maybe the way our stadium is laid out, the corners, but there's no comparison. And as Cam Ward said, I mean, I don't know why he's giving them here's something to learn in the future. Make noise when the team is in the huddle, he said. And now we're out of the huddle. If it's out of the huddle, it's too late.
Yeah, and when you look at depth and everything, and sorry about the camera shaking and everything, I had to come and hide from the twins that are just going crazy inside the house. But look at the running back group. You got 3 guys that can start any program in America right now. Look at you guys mentioned the tight ends. Arroyo, Lofton, McCormick with the first touchdown. That was, I mean, all the jokes in the offseason about McCormick and his 49 seasons. I love that he scored the first touchdown.
Exactly.
That was delicious. That was great. And I will say this, we waited for him for a while, barring injury with that young man at quarterback. The first thing they said on ESPN the next morning, because I was watching it, they said Ole Miss is loaded at QB, Alabama. But the one guy yesterday that jumped out off the screen was Cam Ward.
Absolutely.
That's what they said on ESPN the next morning.
Yep.
So they're going to be favored going forward in every single game on their schedule, especially, I don't know what the hell's happened to Florida State, but I don't know. Their schedule looks good, man. They're going to be favored in every game. I know at Louisville could be a tricky one, but we're going to be a problem.
We weren't half the team last year, and we should have beat Louisville.
Yeah.
But going forward, and I think Florida, if you're a Florida and FSU fan or even nationwide, I think it's apparent that what they're building down here is something scary. It's getting – this is year 3. Wait till it's getting – now those Florida recruits in the end zone on Saturday, you guys were right by them. They saw it. They see now.
It was showing a flashback to you.
You know, all these kids that are 18, 20 years old, they don't know nothing about Miami. Like, I know Miami. I lived it. I saw all the championship teams. These kids that are 20, 21, now that they see them good on the field, buckle up. I'm telling you. I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm telling you, watch.
And it makes it a lot easier when your in-state rivals are dropping the ball left and right. You talk about Florida. Billy Napier has lost 6 straight games. Your last 2 losses were against your in-state rivals in Florida State and Miami, where you couldn't even score 20 points in either game.
He's in trouble. The longest home opening winning streak in college football was snapped.
and you got whooped by an Aquafina bottle and a presser.
Yeah.
And then you talk about,
That was-
talk about Florida State.
he was fighting that thing. He was fighting.
Dude, he was fighting that thing. I mean, he was fighting. I don't know who had a harder fight, Aquafina and Billy Napier, or Katie Turner and Miami football players after the game.
Well, give him credit. At least he wasn't drinking Dasani, for God's sake.
That is true. That is true.
We're all high in the Hurricanes now with the way we played and everything. Are we that good? Is Florida that bad? I mean, can Florida, with their schedule, can they win 3 games this season? I mean, I know they've got a couple of really easy games, but will they win 4 games? If they win, now it's just getting the monkey off our back in the first game. We haven't won a road game in forever. Okay. It's we haven't won a road game forever. I don't recall the last one that we won a big road game. I beat West Virginia, I guess, in the Russell Athletic Bowl. But this was amazing in that respect, the hostile crowd coming out. But if we find out Florida is not as good as people think, or which they're not, does it take anything away from this game?
At that point, it wouldn't matter, Brett. It's towards the end of the season, 12-team playoff. You know, we won. That's it. So
you also got to remember too, that's one of our rivals that we're going into their. It's not a neutral site, and it's not at our stadium. It's in the swamp against an SEC team that they're supposedly the best, even though Saturday they went 1-3 versus ACC or teams or whatever.
Right, and remember, it's also an eye opener for the nation because I want on. I know Brad's familiar with them. Josh Pate on Sunday. I jump on there and I watch the YouTube sometimes, and I'll put like one comment, and they'll say that I'm a Canes fan, and I'll go out and they'll laugh at me. That's how it was the last 2 years because you see Georgia fans on there. But now after that game, I jumped on Sunday. They're like, "Whoa, hey!" They're like,
Whoa.
"Hey, it's Mondo here. We're not gonna laugh tonight because
hey, Mondo,
they saw. Hey,
we took over that. We took over that chat. From
I was just gonna say, I think the biggest thing in all this is this, right? We've always been in the ACC, and our schedule for the most part has always been weak, right? It never was who was the opponent we were playing and how much did we win or lose by. It was always the battle was always us, right? It was always Miami. It was Miami against Miami because as long as Miami is dominant in the trenches on the football field, nobody's going to stop us. And I think now what you're starting to realize is the media, the national media, is seeing that we have hit a gem. We got a unicorn at quarterback and Cam Ward. And the sky is the limit for this football team. And they understand that as long as that guy doesn't get injured, it doesn't matter about the schedule that's lining up ahead of us, which is going to be very easy. It's a red carpet, right? At the end of the day, it's Miami versus Miami. And as long as we do our job, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Miami is they started off the season, not that I've ever made a wager, but Miami's gone now from third and they were like something like +6 or +700 to win the conference. They're now first at +175 after 1 week of football. So that speaks to how good they look and how bad that others.
How bad Clemson is, how bad Florida State is.
Well, I wouldn't say that about Clemson yet because remember they play Georgia. Georgia will make anybody look pretty worthless. So I need to see more of Clemson. But FSU, I never bought into DJ at QB, even when he was at Clemson. More alarming for FSU is they have allowed the GT and Boston College almost 400 yards rushing combined.
Yep.
That's, I don't got to tell you, that's bad. 400 yards?
And remember, a lot of people were saying they have a top 10 defensive line in the country. Where the hell is that at?
They said everyone was returning. They lost a couple of key players, but I don't know. I didn't see it, but what do I know? But yeah, right now people are thinking we're going to kill Florida State. Now that's not the case. They're going to get better. They're going to get better. Like Brad says, it's instead of saying it's us against the world or us against everybody. You're right. It's us against ourselves. It's not against everybody. It's ourselves. That's how we lose. We lose games. We should not. Some of the games in the past we should not have lost. But we didn't have that leadership. You remember when we went to FIU? Was it FIU? We played that game in Marlins Park. Our quarterbacks were aloof. It was like we just couldn't. Mark Richt was pulling his hair. It wasn't Mark Richt. That was Diaz. But still, they didn't. You need to have leadership. That one position is the most important position. I mean, every position is important, but obviously the quarterback position, being a leader, is the most important position.
And you got to show love and give props to that coaching staff and everybody because They didn't have one pre-snap penalty in 4 quarters of football.
Amazing. You're 100% correct.
And they had like what 2 or 3 penalties all
Dude.
game. So it was they played about as clean a game, as good a game as you could. You can't play any better. They were that good.
Brad, what I said, we asked Keys to the game last game, and I said third down conversions. At one time, I don't know what they finished. They were 0 for 8. And, we were the worst team. We'd always give up the third down. We'd stop them with the fourth down. But you're right. The discipline was phenomenal. The pre-snap, we didn't have that. I mean, just unbelievable. It really was. And
here's the stat, guys. We had 8 tackles for loss in this game. 8 tackles for loss in this stat.
I didn't know it was that much. That's a great stat. I had no idea. 8.
That's Sheldon. Armando beat Sheldon.
Hi, Armando.
Hey, how you doing, bud? How are you?
Okay, buddy.
CanesWear.
8 tackles for loss in this game. Way to go, defense.
I didn't know it was that many. And how about that secondary? All the talk pregame was, I'm nervous about the young secondary, and there were plenty of one-on-one shots. I ain't saying Graham Mertz is Dan Marino, but these young kids held their own.
I don't think he's as bad as people think. I thought Mertz had a quick release. I thought he looked very quick. Those passes out of the backfield. He did. Some people, they're playing the results. I don't think he's as bad as he looks. So if they
he's not great. He's not bad. He's just a guy. He's okay.
What was he, a 5-star? Was he a 4-star or 5-star or something like that, Brian?
A 4, I think.
Brett, he was a 4. He was a 4-star. He was a 4-star. DJU was a 5-star. Mertz was a 4-star, and Cam Ward was a 0-star.
I think Lagway gets a lot of playing time going forward for them.
I agree.
I don't know how bad Mertz is hurt. The Lagway kid.
I didn't see him get hurt in the interception. And what about their back? Their back is lightning. I mean,
he's a good.
He only got one bias, but I could see that guy having a big year. What's his name again?
Montreal Johnson. So he averages 800 yards each year at Florida. So he's going into his senior year, and last 2 years he's the main running back. Even though Etienne was there last year, he got the majority of the carries, but Etienne was the more of a big play guy that honestly they probably really needed in this game. And even though Montreal Johnson had a big play run, if you would have had the speed of Etienne, who knows what would have happened, and if you would have had more big plays. But I think that was part of the reason why our secondary was able to kind of put the clamps on and kind of play one-on-one coverage, because we were able to make them one-dimensional. They didn't have the running game that they had last season, not to mention, a first-round draft pick at wide receiver and Ricky Purcell, who unfortunately just got shot. Thank goodness he's okay.
Yeah, thank God. That's crazy.
But, when you lose weapons like that, it's not easy to just, pick up guys, from other programs or rely on another guy that has been at a program for 2 years and only has like 4 career catches. You can't rely on that production to just be right in there with the same quarterback. And I think you saw right away when you lose an Etienne and a Purcell, you're not really left with much. And you saw how quickly they became one-dimensional. I think in one of the interviews or articles, Lance Guidry said, we looked at the tape from last year, and there was 5 or 6 plays that they realized that they constantly ran. And sure enough, within the second drive, they saw those plays come up right away.
Well, it's good to know. That's good to know, because this team did beat a top Tennessee team last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we beat Florida. We're 1-0. As a Cane fan and talking to fans in the store, I mean, everybody is pumped right now. The difference between winning and losing in my business is amazing, because the fans are excited. They come in, you win. Like I said, they want to be a part of something. Give me a shirt, give me this. I need to be wearing something new. They're excited. When you lose, people are like, you know what? I'll fix the dryer today. When you're winning, it's like nobody cares. The clothes can take a little bit longer, but whatever it takes. So now we're 1-0. And we're going against FAMU, and Derek just said that, right? They're 65-3.
He's trying to be like Brad. He's trying to be like Brad here. Stop trying to predict Derek. Come on now.
They've got some athletes. Are they going to be a total pushover? Do you think they've got any opportunity, or not to beat us, but to extend the game, past the second quarter?
Mario mentioned this morning before Brad came on 560 that FAMU has a very good quarterback. That they're already they've been looking at film and et cetera. So keep an eye on the FAMU quarterback. And he mentioned that several times this morning. So he's not going to let these kids look. Obviously, it's tough. You just came off a huge win for the program against a rival, but we'll see how it goes. I'll be there Saturday. I can't wait. So
All
hopefully
right,
it's a
got
packed
one
house.
down. Mark goes in.
I'll be there.
Sheldon will be there. I know Sheldon will be there.
I'll be there.
All right.
FAMU already has 2 wins under their belt, right? So
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
this is a team that's the HBCU champs, so it's not just a pushover program. Like Mondo mentioned, not only is the quarterback a pretty decent quarterback, he's a South Florida native from Miami. So as we know, in the past with Miami Hurricane programs, anytime we have a local guy that doesn't go to UM and he has the opportunity to play in the Hard Rock, those are the guys that usually perform well. And this is a guy that already performs well and is the key guy for FAMU at quarterback. He has about 8 touchdowns already in 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, no interceptions, and he could throw the football, and he could also test you outside the pocket, which is something we did not see week 1 against Florida, right? You had a Graham Mertz and a Lagway that didn't really test you too much outside the pocket. This is going to be a little bit different, more of a linebacker QB spy, in my opinion. But this is a FAMU program that has 13 straight wins. Like I mentioned, HBCU champs, top 10 defense in mostly every category last year. So this is not just a pushover football program. But to DC's point, this should be a game where by third quarter, you should start to see your second and third string guys, because at the end of the day, we are dominant in every position. What I want to see is this. Mario in the past is a guy where if he goes up against you and he's familiar with you and you guys have some type of relationship and he respects you, he's not going to be a guy that really pushes foot on the gas at the end, right? He's going to kind of let up and be nice. He has already mentioned that him and this head coach go way back, all the way back to middle school. They're very familiar with each other. Not only them,
I know that.
So all 3 of these guys know each other. They know his father as well. So they have a lot of respect for each other. They're all in the same coaching circle and coaching tree. So I want to see in the third quarter, when we're up 30, 40 points, are we going to continue to put the gas on and continue to run up the points? Because at the end of the day, if you want Cam Ward to end up winning this Heisman, he's got to put up numbers at the end of the day, because we know how the schedule looks. So I want to see if we're going to continue to put the foot on the gas pedal.
And Thad Franklin's over there too. So how is it when an ex-Cane comes to play? What is their history when an ex-Cane comes, who was a good back for us? Where did he play? Chaminade, Thad Franklin? And he was a dominant runner, highly recruited, highly rated and everything. Played well for us at times. Great family, by the way, that would visit the store. And how would you feel that someone like that could impact the game? Because he's probably got a little bit of a grudge.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, he'll get a lot of carries, Brett. I think he'll get a lot of carries playing in Hard Rock. How good he'll do remains to be seen. Yeah, he'll go.
I think they're going to score. I'm going to go. Now, we've won a lot of these games 77-3, even under Golden and under Manny. We've won, and we've looked. We said, we're amazing. We're fantastic. We played 4 quarterbacks. But I'm going to go. We're going to go 55-21, I'm going to go. Even though I know they've scored in the 20s their first 2 games. I'm going to say 55-21. I'm going to say they're going to surprise us early, and they're going to hit us in the mouth, but we're going to come back pretty quickly. Yeah. And so I'm going to say 55-21. I think it's going to be closer than people think.
And I'm going to start calling you Brett Tejeda. How's that?
There you go. I predicted 30. I predicted 35-14 in the last game. I wasn't Brad, but if you look at the notes, I predicted 35-14 or 31-14. I think it was. I didn't predict 41-17. I don't want to brag too, but I was 31-14 when Brad gave that score. I said, "Wow, he's more out there than I am."
Brad made some great points, because I noticed last week I saw the highlights talking about the Heisman, the kid from Tennessee, quarterback. They pulled him at the half, I believe.
He's good.
Granted, he's top 2, probably 3 Heisman guy. But to Brad's point, if you're up 25, 30, 30, well, not 25, but if you're up 30, 35, are you pulling him already? I
think at 40 points. They didn't pull him this game. he was, they didn't pull him this game, but I don't think they're going to play him too long, because there's always that risk if something happens to him. You say at time, scrub time, or not scrub time, but mop up time. The team's not trying to run it up. Mario doesn't seem like he wants to run it up. All we have to do is win this year, and now with 12-team playoff is a big advantage. Just win the ACC. Just win the ACC like we've never done it before. Like we do it all the time, I should say.
Miami impressed. Also, I don't know if you guys saw USC. They hired the UCLA defensive coordinator. USC, that's a good win.
Yes.
I know it's a neutral field. That was a good win. So I hate to say
I don't
Notre
think
Dame,
we've
but
ever
you might see
we've never
familiar
played
teams in the
USC in
playoff.
a bowl game. I'm pretty sure we played UCLA, Jimmy's first year in a bowl game. I think we lost 35-31. I think I'm not sure the score, but we've never played When's the last time we played USC? Period.
We did, Brett. They came to the Orange Bowl, and I think their quarterback was Troy Aikman.
At
Way
UCLA.
back in the Orange Bowl,
UCLA.
70s.
No, that was UCLA we played. That was the
Right,
Jimmy
at
game, but we never
UCLA,
played
yeah.
USC.
Well, okay.
Aikman's at
UCLA's
UCLA.
quarterback was Troy Aikman. Then he got hurt. Yeah, so
Okay, right. Okay.
correct.
Good
But
point.
I don't recall us ever playing USC. Maybe we have.
I don't remember.
It's like the two private schools from two ends of the country.
Right.
You know, the top two private schools with the most championships. That would be interesting.
Notre Dame, you know, I hate to say it, but maybe them being in there, and USC, maybe some familiar old school teams that used to be good back in the day, you know.
You know, Notre Dame's had their runs a few times.
Well, yeah, but they.
So
Yeah,
2017 is the last year we won a bowl game, but CanesWear has been around 15 years. Okay, first 7 years we didn't beat Florida State, and we did beat Florida State on that amazing catch in the end zone. I was crying. I was like, I felt like such a relief.
Come on, Brett.
I used to blame Joe Zagacki, but I realized it could have been me too, because you know we won the champions right before the voice. So, but then I was saying, wow, I'm just as bad here. 7 years. So now I've been in this business 15 years. We got one bowl win in 15 years, and we've got one 10-win season, and which is pretty sad. When I tell people the Miami Hurricanes have one bowl win, my son went to Virginia. He's a Virginia fan. They've got much more bowl wins. They got more bowl wins than us. They got an ACC. I mean, they've got 10 wins. I mean, we got one 10-win season and one bowl game. I mean, forget the 10. One bowl win. You're supposed to play in the bowl every year. That's all. That's as bad as it gets.
That's all about the change, my friend. You're gonna have people hanging off Las Spadas in your shopping center pretty soon.
I hope so.
It might be me.
I'm have to bring you.
It might be Cliff in his tight shirt.
Cliff used to hang out on Fridays.
I go to CanesWear every single Friday when I lived down there.
Yes, I had a good joke about that, Bruce. But, yeah, so let's see. So anything else we got to add? It's so far, we'll go some final comments, but it's been an unbelievable show. Thank you guys all for joining us. Cliff, you got something? And we'll
I just want
over
to
the panel.
give a shout out to also that, you know, people didn't talk about much before the game, but my guy Ryan Rodriguez, because he played really, really well. And people were like, oh, damn, why is Rodriguez starting? Bro, he played really well. He played well during the game. So I just want to give him a shout out.
Shout out to Ryan Rodriguez. All right. Mondo, you got anybody to shout out or something to say?
Well, obviously, shout out to you guys, and thanks for having me on. And shout out to Sheldon, Cliff, Brett, and Horton. I thought Horton was fantastic. How about shout out to him?
Horton was fantastic.
Shout out to that Cam Ward rolling to the left and making some crazy NFL throw to Jacoby George.
That's a play you see on highlights all the time, and every Cane fan has said for years, wish we could have a quarterback that could do that. I mean, that was a highlight play. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's style.
Yeah, but let's pack. I know I saw Mike Rumpf tweeted it today, and a couple players. These players and staff deserve it. Let's start packing that stadium over here down the street every week. Not just a quote unquote big games. Let's support them because
they're fun to watch.
This is year 3, and if
good point,
they're building something special, and that was step 1 last week. Like Mario said this morning, time to move on. It's week 2. Let's keep it going. So you guys all have a.
Cam said he was the most prepared for this game than ever before. What does that tell you guys?
Great point. Great point. He did say that. He also said at the end of the game, I'm going to celebrate for 30 minutes. Then it's on. I'm going to think about FAMU. Yeah. But he did say he was the most prepared, which is great to hear.
Mm-hmm. And think about this too. Everyone says, "Oh, I'll start caring," more when the school starts caring. Well, the school.
I hate that.
I mean, we got a quarterback in. We got transfer portal guys that plugged all the holes that we had. I mean, they're carrying. They're carrying more.
I think it's almost sold out, DC.
Yeah, I think Derek Coe has been to like 4,442 straight games and asking if there's tickets.
True.
That's classic.
True.
But you're right. When fans say that, I mean, certain games. I remember Tyler Van Dyke's first game against Virginia. It was like there was nobody there, and we missed the field goal at the end. And everyone, I knew that's why I didn't go. I knew we'd lose. I mean, playing the result. But you're right. We got a chance to see. Right now, he's probably top 3 right now. I think he's 9-1 to win the Heisman. Not to say it's going to happen, but when's the last time we had a guy 9-1 to win the Heisman?
Yeah.
When's the last time we had these running? Just everything here. If we don't get 50,000 fans to see FAMU, the tickets are probably the least expensive of any major college program. You probably go to this game for $10.
And the game is at 6 p.m. It's not at noon.
It's a
not
great
at 3:30.
time.
There's no excuse. It's at 6 p.m.
Great point, Mondo. Great point. So
get out there and have some Yingling flights, Mondo, and fly right into the stadium.
We've never done that before, right, Cliff? Never. Never. No.
That's got to move back. What the heck is going on?
No, but seriously, one last thing. Like all the players, all the staff, trust me, they see all the tweets. They hear everything on the podcast. Because I've been told that to my face. Keep bringing that energy. Keep bringing that love because they are building a monster. And it feels good. It really does. And let's just kick ass on Saturday, guys.
63-10, Canes.
63-10. I got 55-21, and I'm hoping I'm way off. I will be way off. What do you got, Mondo?
I got the over/under on beers for myself at 5.5, so I'll let you know next week.
I like that. So I'm going over.
I'm going to say 45-13. How's that?
Is that how many Modelo's you're going to have, or is that how many?
The score of the game, and I want it on record before this is over.
45-13.
I want, as of tonight, we're signing a deal tonight. I want 7% of all store sales starting tonight.
Hey, I was just about to ask Brett for a loan now before we get too good and the store gets out of control. Can I get the loan now?
I wish, guys. I wish. Sheldon, what do you got for us, Sheldon?
I'll go 51-14, Canes.
51-14. What do you got?
Burger,
Any closing comments,
Brad,
Sheldon?
what do you got?
What?
Any
Brad,
closing comments, Sheldon?
No,
I
Sheldon.
didn't get
Sheldon.
Okay, no. Go, Brad. What do you got, Brad?
What score prediction?
Yeah, this is what I'm going to be betting in Vegas. So
You've
right
never
now,
hit that, Brad.
Hold on a
you've never
second.
hit
Let me
that
start
before,
typing
right?
it in and go.
63-13.
If he hits this 2 weeks in a row, I'm done.
I said 63-10, so we're close.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're very close.
63-13.
63-13.
Another shout out to my boy Adam Dunn. Sheldon's
Adam
son.
Dunn. I want to say Adam Dunn did an amazing job
One of
of
the best
putting together this party with the CanesWear team.
Yep.
And Sheldon is Adam's father, for those of you guys that don't know.
Oh, awesome. Great job, Adam.
Awesome.
So Adam did a phenomenal job on that show. It was on this party. It was unbelievable. And we had over 500 people. There was an inside. Will Manso was on Hockman the other day, and he said, "I went to that CanesWear because Hockman promotes us." And he was talking about CanesWear. I was at that CanesWear party. It was unbelievable. I mean, Hockman texted me right away and said, "Wow, Will's Will was really giving you a great shout out." But it was a great time. Great time had by all. Brad's party led it off, which is a great time. You did a fantastic job on that, Brad. And then we partied till 2. What time did you leave, Brad? You left early though, right?
11:30. Yeah.
11:30. So I was there like 2:30.
11:30. What are you, my age? Come on, baby.
Listen. I was up till about 3 a.m. the night before painting that wall above. So I was pretty tired.
That was an awesome party. So many people part of it. Uptown Dale was there doing a great job. My team was doing amazing. Just selling outside, helping people. It was just a beautiful time. We're going to try to do something in Tampa. I don't know for sure if we're going to. We're going to see if we can. Is anybody going up for that Tampa game?
I think
I'll probably go up for that.
All right, everybody's going. Okay, cool. Brad, you're right around the corner, right?
Yeah.
So
let me know, Brad. I'll fly down.
This is the second edition of the CanesWear podcast on the FTSN Florida Talk Sports Network. I'm pretty sure, right? Bobby Melendez does a phenomenal job. He does other shows as well. A lot of Dolphins. I know we don't have too many Dolphin fans here, except for me. And maybe Sheldon sometimes. He's an Eagle fan. What do we got? A Cowboy fan, an Eagle fan, a Cowboy fan, and no Cowboy fan. Sorry. Cowboy fan. I think Sheldon's an Eagle fan. Cowboy fan, Eagle fan. We got 2 Eagle fans, 2 Cowboy fans, and 1 Dolphin fan. That's pretty amazing. This is like the NFC East category where you got.
As long as we're all Canes fans, we're good.
Exactly. As long as we're all
There you
Canes
go.
fans and so, you know, winning breeds winning. And as we know, just the last thing is the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup. South Florida, at CanesWear, you can get your Florida Panther merchandise along with your Miami Dolphins. Sorry, no Philadelphia Eagle, no Dallas Cowboys, none of that merchandise, no Washington Capitals, none of that stuff. But we want this to be the city of champions, okay? The city of champions everywhere. They had Tampa Bay, right? They had Boston with the Patriots, the Celtics, the Bruins all winning. It's about time South Florida starts winning some championships. And
Yes, sir.
if the U can do it, you guys would even accept the Dolphins Super Bowl if the U can win a championship, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you got Tua at quarterback. I don't know if
Well, I don't know if Cam, that'll be the next conversation. If Cam was available, would you take Cam over Tua? But we're not there yet, guys. That's for another show. We don't want to open up a can of worms. So
We'll be on here for another hour.
exactly. So, well, guys, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Brad and I started off last week. This week we added a few. If we got anyone else that wants to join, we can have up to 10 people on the show at one time. You guys are always welcome back to join the fun. The parting gifts are a big thank you, and we appreciate all of you. Next time we'll do our beverages with Brett, which is we can add that to it if everybody wants to bring their favorite beverage. This is
There you
a
go.
5-time champion. I don't know if can you guys see this? The 5-time champion glass right there.
Oh yeah,
And,
nice.
and I'm not going to make them again because I'm going to wait till 6. We already got 6. I want a real 6 that the players can wear a ring, not some UCF or FSU ring. I want a real 6. Okay.
That's a great thing. Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
guys, thank you very much, Brad, Sheldon, Cliff, and Mondo. Thank you so much for joining the show. CanesWear.com, folks. CanesWear, the Spot Man Fan Shop. Come and get your Canes items. We got tons of stuff, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Go Canes, baby.
Okay.
Go Canes.